What is going on, guys? Welcome to the final episode of my AlaMobile career mode, and we're here for the final 3 races of this season, and we'll be doing 3 races in one video. This is because the races are just 5 laps, and here we are for the first of 3 rounds in Monza. And as we are rounding the final corner for the first run of Q1, to the start finish line we go. Where will we end up? For now we are in P2. I guess we still have some pace to improve our lap time, as it shows, because we were in P1 just a few seconds and then we directly got beaten, and we are now down to P2. So for the second run we didn't change tires, just another run, and meanwhile we're down to P9 already, so this lap is very important. As we come to the start finish line, we'll improve our lap time and we're up to P5. So this was a better lap, and now let's get straight into Q2. Here are the results of Q1, and now let's jump into the lap. Here we come to the end of the run in Q2 with 2 purple sectors. Coming to the start finish straight, where will we end up? We will end up in P1 for now, with a green 3rd sector. Is it even possible to set 3 purple sectors? And what is the Williams doing? He literally turned into me while I tried to improve my lap time in the second run. And in the end we're improving our time by 3/10, around 3/10, with a purple middle sector. Down to the start finish straight we go, down to the line. And we don't improve our position, but improve our lap time by a few tenths. And here are the results of Q2. We end up in P5, and now we're here in Q3, and coming to the final turn onto the start finish straight we go using a bit of overtake in the DRS, and we are in P1 again with a green 3rd sector. And here are the results overall of Q3. And here are the results overall from the qualifying. And now let's jump straight into the race. Tire lights are on, and off we go for the race here in Monza in Italy. We don't get a very good start, as we lose a few positions from the line. But down to turn 1 we go with a huge dive bomb, and we make up for several positions, and we're up to P4 with just a few meters later braking. And now we're side by side with Lando Norris, with the McLaren driver. We go through a Curva Grande, and now down to the Della Roja chicane. We have to cut the chicane as we brake too late, and we have to let the Red Bull through again. Now through the first Les Motorn we go side by side. We go with the Red Bull into the second Les Motorn, and we're up to P3 now with Puff and Max Verstappen in front of me. Down to the Ascari chicane we go. Can we make a move on Puff? Into the turn we go. We tried it on the outside, but he places the car perfectly and stays in front for now. Down to the straight we go. We're closing and closing with high ERS mode, but Miguel H is closing faster. We have to defend the inside down to Parabolica. Side by side we go with Puff, but he stays in front of me for now, as he is pulling away also a bit. But we're now using the overtake, and we're closing and closing. Down to the start finish straight we go. We're still closing, but the ERS nears to the empty point. Side by side we go down the inside. We brake a bit later than him, and we're up to P2. Now next up ahead is Max Verstappen, but our ERS is pretty much empty, and now Puff re-overtakes me. At least he tries to overtake me. Around the outside of a Curva Grande he goes. We try to push him wide, but he nevertheless overtakes me. And also Miguel H tries to overtake me. I have to defend the inside line and convert it into a move on Puff, and we're up to P2 again. Max Verstappen pulled away meanwhile, as the fighting with the other Red Bull and Puff is too much time consuming. Now another lap for Puff and Miguel H. Can they overtake me? Down to the start finish straight we go, and we don't defend the inside line, which is a bad decision, as Puff overtakes me. But down the inside into the first chicane, I brake a bit too late and we overtake him and cut the chicane. But now I let him pass me again, as this wasn't a fair overtake. And also Miguel H uses it and overtakes me, and we're down to P4 again. Down to the Della Roger chicane we go again. We make a huge move on the inside and can overtake Oyapuf and Miguel H. But both of them nearly overtook me. In the end, only Oyapuf really overtakes me, as I again braked a bit too late. Through Lesmo 2 we go. On the exit, I overtook Oyapuf again, and we're up to P5. But Verstappen, meanwhile, is 2.8 seconds in front of me now. The fighting is too time consuming. Next lap, next lock for Oyapuf, but this time we defend the inside line of turn 1. And now he has to try it around the outside. But he doesn't have to run, and we can stay in front of him for now. We are still in P2, exiting the first 2 turns. Unfortunately, I forgot the name of the first chicane. So we're now again side by side running up the hill of Curva Grande. Side by side we go down to the Della Roger chicane, and we can outbrake him around the outside and stay in front of him for another lap. And now we're here for the final lap of the race, as nothing happened anymore. And I checked on the first chicane, and the name is Rizzefilo, if somebody is interested. And we end up the race in P2, as Verstappen dominated the whole thing and won it by a huge mile. And here is the podium and the results. Pretty good race from both of us, me and my teammate. And now let's jump into Suzuka for the second race of 3 in this video. As we're coming through the final chicane, onto the start finish straight we go with the DRS enabled now. Down to the start finish line we run. Where will we end up? For now we'll end up in P1 and directly got beaten, and we are down to P2. Now let's jump into Q2, as nothing happened anymore. Here are the results of Q1, and now let's start Q2. As we're now coming to this final chicane again with 2 purple sectors, and on the start finish line we go, nearly losing the car on the exit of the chicane. With the DRS enabled now, down to the line we go, and we're up in P1. What a great result. And I left it with it and skipped Q3, so we'll start from P10 this race. And here are the results overall from the qualifying. You can see I didn't set the lap time. And here we go for the race. Finally, let's go off, and off we go. We nearly avoid the Racing Bull, as somehow he didn't really get off the line. And we are still in P10, as someone overtook me. And now we tried around the outside to overtake the Williams and also the Red Bull, but the Red Bull stays in front of me and brake checks me into the S's. Somehow he can still stay in front of me, and we're up to P9. But now side by side we go. Around the outside, I overtake the Red Bull of Miguel H, and we're up to P8. Next up ahead is Jager in the Haas, and then we've got Franco Colapinto in the Alpine. A great race for the Alpines, especially for Colapinto this time, as he is lurking around in P6 in this car. As we are down the inside of the chicane and make up 2 places on Colapinto and Oyapuf. And I took Oyapuf a bit wide, which Colapinto uses and stays in P6. And we are up to P5. Next up ahead is Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. And then we have got Twich in the Mercedes. He don't get a really good run exiting the second spoon corner. But now down to 130 we go with a huge top speed advantage. Through this fast left-hander we go down to the chicane, and you brake way too late and crash into the back of Charles Leclerc. But somehow we all managed to get the corner, but we lost the most time in the end. But half a lap later we caught up to Leclerc again, and we're still in P5. So no position losses. Into the chicane we go. Can we make a move on the Ferrari? Down the inside we go. We brake very late and have to slow down on the apex of the corner so he doesn't make the switchback move on me. And we're up to P5. Next up ahead is Twich in the Mercedes. And then we've got the other Ferrari of Pole David. Through the spoon corners we go. onto this straight. Can we make a move somewhere before the chicane, as the chicane is very tight? No, we're not fast enough to close up that fast, so we have to make the move into the chicane. This time we also brake a bit earlier, but Pole David, he squeezes me a bit, and Suffix uses it and stays in front of me for another few meters. But we're now closing and closing with the DRS and the overtake enabled. Side by side we go down to the first corner, the Duhan corner, and we can overtake him. Duhan crashed in real life there, so I named this corner now Duhan corner. And we directly also overtake Pole David in the meanwhile. And next up I had this Verstappen in the Red Bull. Up the hill we go. He runs wide a bit, and 2 laps later, as nothing happened, we caught up to him directly and we bump draft him once again, as we did before on Leclerc. Side by side we go with Verstappen down to the chicane, and I tried to push him off, but it didn't work really, and now we both crash. But I run off track and nearly get stuck, while he can continue with no position losses, and I'm down to P4. But now Pole David is side by side with Verstappen. Can Pole David overtake him? No, in the end it doesn't work. And in exiting the chicane, I somehow managed to overtake Suffix for a podium. And we're now closing on Pole David in the last few meters, but it doesn't work, and we stay in P3. A great race, I'd say. In the end, a few shenanigans, but I'd say it was pretty well executed. And here are the results of the race, with that Gamer 17 ending up in P14, a not so good race for him. And now here we are for the final race of this season, for the Brazilian Grand Prix, as we are now here on our first and only run of this whole qualifying, as we are just doing a run in Q1, so we'll be starting from P15. And now enough waffle, I'll leave you till the end of the lap. And here we are for the end of the lap, coming to the start finish straight. Where will we end up in the first run? And we'll end up in P1 in Q1. And that's it for the qualifying. Here are the results overall of Q1. And now let's jump straight into the race. Before that, here you can see the qualifying results overall. We are in P15 in the end with no time, obviously. And here we go for the final race of the season. We don't get that good start, but into turn 1 we make up some ground, and we're up to P14 and nearly tangling around with another car. Next up ahead is my teammate, that Gamer 17, who's in P13, and we're in P14. So down the inside of turn 4 we go. We make a huge launch down the inside, nearly making double overtake, also on the House of Rage, but he stays in front of me for now. I switch to the inside line of the next corner, but he gets a better round around the outside, and I spin him around. What is going on? And there's a huge crash in the back, as my teammate also lost a few places. In the end we make up a few more places, and now the other Haas nearly squeezes me into the wall, and I learned from that mistakes from a few seasons ago. But in the end Yuki Tsunoda re-overtakes me from a double move I tried to make. And a few corners later I caught up again to him, but waiting into the corners, as the AI is not that fast through the corners. And here we go, overtaking Tsunoda and directly trying to overtake Charles Leclerc, as he tried a late move into the corner. Around the outside we go, while squeezing him a bit, and we're up to P9. Next up ahead is Franco Colapinto and his teammate Pierre Gasly, as I tapped the rear of Gasly a bit and overtook Colapinto. Here we go through this corner, up the hill we go, we again tap his rear a bit, side by side we go, up the hill. Can we make a move on Pierre Gasly? As we are running side by side, he onto the start finish straight, cannot overtake the Frenchman in the Alpine. Side by side we go down to turn 1, who brakes later? It's Gasly, but I got the inside line and can stay in front of him. No, I can overtake him, I mean. Next up ahead is Polo David, but we just lost a few tenths of time because we tangled around again with the Alpine. So now Polo David is around a second in front of me, which we will have to close at first. Through the middle sector we go. Where can we overtake him? Directly into the next corner. We broke way later than him, and we're up to P6 now, and directly overtaking the Mercedes of Sofx for P5, and now also overtake the Oyapov for P4. So he tries this switchback move on the inside, but doesn't fully commit for it. So we'll stay in P4. And next up ahead is Lando Norris. Meanwhile, we set a proper middle sector. Can we set a new fastest lap? As the current fastest lap holder is Miguel H. Onto the start finish line we go. We defend the inside line as Oyapov tries to re-overtake me around the outside. It was a good decision to defend the inside line, but we run wide. He nearly makes a switchback move, but we cut the first corner and stay in front of him, which is nevertheless time consuming as Lando Norris is pulling away. Down to turn 4 we go. Where can we make a move? On the grid, somewhere in the middle sector, I guess, as we are closing a bit through that corner. Up the hill we go. Where can we make the move on the McLaren driver? Into the next corner, we brake a bit later than him. We somehow find a gap on the inside and try it around the outside and can overtake him, and we're out to P3. Next up ahead is Salvatore in the other Mercedes. Finally he has a good race again, but we couldn't close up in the end, and a lap later we're still in P3, but we created a small gap to Lando Norris, so the podium is safe at another P3 in the final race of this career mode, and we will end up in P3 as the world champion since 3 races ago. And that's it with the season 3 and this career mode. Here is the podium. We end up in P3 another time, and Verstappen won it again. No, Verstappen didn't win the race. What did he end up? P15! What the hell? What did he start, man? This is insanity! What is going on with him? Suddenly he's nowhere to be seen, and his teammate won it. Crazy stuff, I must say. And that's it. The season is completed, with Polo David in P3 and Verstappen in P2 another time like he did last season, and we are double world champion as we won in the last season with Williams and this season with Aston. And now let's check out the Drivers' Championship standings, as we won it with 86 points to Verstappen, and in the Constructors' Championship standings we won the championship by 35 points to Ferrari. Thanks for watching.